Hello, everyone. So today, we have a short talk about Microfrontends and my experience so far with this, let's say, pattern. It works. I'm Athanasios Korakas. I'm software engineer at XM, and you might have seen some weird videos on YouTube with my friend Thanos about mostly technology. So let's see a definition about Microfrontends. You can read it yourself, but the idea is that Microfrontends, it's something that allows us to deploy independently, so let's say autonomously, front applications to production. And all this somehow comes apart as an application. If we zoom a bit, we can see that it refers nothing about technology, no frameworks, no like Angular, React, whatever. The main point is that we can deploy something independently in production. And why do we want to do that? Let's say that we have like 3 teams. There are different, like, let's say, squads or whatever you name it, and they have like 3 applications. And each team needs to be like autonomous to deploy something and has their own release cycles and QA, whatever. But the idea of my frontends, like, if you go like to xm.com, is we need a whole application to be somehow constructed on the runtime on production. And the user doesn't really care about that. I mean, if you go to my xm.com, on this page you can see like several microfrontends, but when you use it, you don't care about, okay, this is Angular or it's like Modular Federation or whatever. What you care about to make money. So the second part is that all these things are composed to production to a greater whole, to our application. So you can like visualize the pattern like this. It's not like individual teams that deploy production apps are individual teams that can have like their whole life cycles, QAs, whatever, but at the end of the day, all this becomes a unified app that serves the users and they don't understand anything about like microfrontends or code. So you can think that MFEs, like microservices, microfrontends, is not a design pattern like strategy pattern or things we use on our, let's say, code. It's something to organize our teams. It's something that we can use to structure organization and help them to be like autonomous, deploy production, and don't break stuff. Because I don't really like speaking like for things that I haven't used and just saying, okay, microfrontends are good, are bad, use it or not. I want to show you a use case that I worked for like 2.5 years or a bit more, and we migrated a PHP application, a PHP dashboard, to something JavaScript. The use case is that it was like a big PHP application. It was still under active development, so it was not something that was like legacy and we didn't add features. It was like weekly deployments, new features, and it was critical to operations. That means that the company needed this application in order to continue the main jobs. We were very lucky because we have already worked to separation, like we split teams. We had something like streams, squads, that, okay, I'm responsible for these operations in the company. The other team is responsible for this stuff. And the code was already split into, let's say, bound context or modules that serving these teams. So the POC was to first find a way to integrate our new application, the front application, with the existing app. Because we have 3 teams, we need like to split this application or somehow make a new application that each team can deploy independently. So my team can deploy whatever day or hour it wants, and the other teams will not be affected. The UI should be consistent. That means that, okay, we might have MFEs or micro apps or whatever, but the application at the end of the day needs to be feel the same. And of course, developers should be happy. I mean, okay, we migrate to something new, but at least we need to stay productive. How we're planning to do that migration? We have a PHP application, like we said, and we said that, okay, we have like a skeleton, we have an app, and we're going to inject somehow a new JavaScript application. This div is like the new application. The layout is the PHP. So we create the SPA, I mean like we made a React application, we deployed to CloudFront. CloudFront is the CDN of Amazon. And then we generate a manifest file. Manifest file, I mean like a simple JSON that describes, okay, if you want application A, you can find it at this domain and some URL. Then we integrated with PHP, so we said, okay, in case the user goes to, let's say, page A, you go to this CDN and you fetch the file. So you can like imagine this integration like that. PHP fetches from CloudFront a manifest file and then knows what to render. The manifest file looks like this. Also helps to invalidate the cache. We have like a hash there, so backend doesn't need to know about the new deployments, only knows about the modules and can integrate something. So in order to also speed up deployment and development, we create a monorepo. All teams were working together so we can share stuff, but at the end of the day, it was going to different bundles. Everything on CI, we didn't build anything manually. Everything was like we were using GitHub Actions, so we can deploy automatically on merge. Manifest file was also a GitHub action. If you think of it like you might have some issues with race conditions, but for our use case, it was okay. So we saw how we can integrate this. Deployments were okay because of the CI. We can simply merge and deploy our app. The UI. We create like a package in the monorepo that everyone can use, like buttons, layouts, whatever. And it was consistent because like everyone was using the same UI. And for development experience, I skipped the slide, okay. Because we're using a JSON file, the manifest as showed, we can simply change the CDN path to localhost, and everything was working like whole module replacement. Everything was fine because it was like a JS file. Next step, okay, we have a POC, we made the page working. That means nothing, we have like a whole new a lot of application to migrate, and new features that needs to be written like on this new framework thing. How we did that? First of all, because it was like an institution that was doing something critical, we can break something, we decided to deploy everything before release in production, verify it works, and then, okay, it can go to our users. When we add new features, we follow this pattern. We don't make new features to PHP, and somehow we need to rewrite the existing features. Everything that was already there needs to be, to work as expected, so every new feature was behind the feature flag, and we can like flip it on production. If something goes wrong, we switch back, everything's okay. So we remove the code after, let's say, a week or however we feel safe with that. How we manage to rewrite fast? We create a package in the monorepo with initially components. We try to make every component like reusable. We had the rule, if you introduce a new component, make it reusable, and other guys can use it as well. So some ideas, table filters, layouts, whatever it was like common in the application went there. We tried to standardize everything, like except UI, we tried to standardize backend responses, how we do search on different entities, so we can like get for free some stuff from the packages. So we don't implement something like, okay, I have search, query params work like that, I have table, it works like that. We tried to make everything unified. We had to do some changes on the backend as well to make it like our life easier, but it helped a lot. And finally, we used a tool called Plop.js. There are other tools as well, maybe NX or whatever can generate files. So, except the common functionality, we had like a CLI tool. Okay, I want to make a feature. Go make a page, wire it with a router, make any Webpack, whatever configuration you need. And like in half an hour, you have a new feature, a new page, and you can use like the packages to build whatever you need. So, like I mentioned, that was a monorepo, a manifest file, and the PHP was doing, let's say, the orchestration or the stitching of the front applications to production. When we designed all this, we thought that, okay, single SPA is a front-end router for Microfrontends. We can use this thing to get rid of PHP when we're done, and just use JavaScript, but we cannot. Since this is like a modular front application, we can decide, okay, we are 3 teams, maybe the cost of deploying Microfrontends is too much, so we can just like make a monolith and deploy to production. Thanks.